Hey there. Today we are talking about the Deprivation Series, and it's a three-part series that I created. And the first part has to do with areas of intimacy and love and attention. So, for more about deprivation and the concept and how it relates to personal development, you can check out my blog at stephaniesheridan.com, and it's under the journal section. And so, what does chronic deprivation in the area of love, attention, and intimacy mean? Well, I can speak from my own experience and what I've identified in these areas, and then also relate it to broader concepts of what I understand contributes to chronic deprivation in love and attention. So one thing I wanted to talk about specifically is the area of romantic obsession and how that actually is a contributing factor to chronic deprivation. Because we all know that romantic obsession can feel extremely destabilizing. It can feel extremely disempowering, and it can feel compulsive, all those things. If you search for the hashtag like love addiction, these types of things, and even read books from Pia Mellody or Melody Beattie, it's very much related to codependence. So my particular take on this is how it feeds into the deprivation channel, and is one factor or one area that kind of feeds into this self story about I don't deserve, I don't qualify, a thing like I don't deserve attention, I don't deserve love. That's really kind of the core belief that the romantic obsession is going up against, because the basis of a romantic obsession is the unrequited love, right? And so definitely, if you haven't done any family of origin work, I strongly encourage you to do that with the help of a recovery group and also a licensed mental health provider. And in doing that, you will slowly start to uncover where the familiarity is coming from, like where that loop is coming from that you get trapped in terms of trying to fix someone or trying to really actually control them. So the romantic obsession is actually, in my experience and my view, is a control pattern where we are stuck in a kind of tug of war with someone, and we're romanticizing and kind of sexualizing that interaction. There may be some physical attraction, there may be some flirtation, maybe even a couple of dates, or perhaps some appropriate or inappropriate flirtation or something like that in the workplace or other places. Wherever the romantic obsession is popping up, the brain, because of the familiar sense of a control pattern, is using that as like the romantic gateway, as a way to try to control what feels totally out of control. So areas that you could feel out of control could be in your own life, and you're unwilling or unable to look at that unmanageability, and because of shame, denial, other things that I've talked about and that others have talked about as well. So the romantic obsession is like a conduit, and it's like a channel to funnel the mind in order to continue that denial or the kind of it's almost like the lesser of two evils, right? So if I look at my own life, if I look at the unmanageability, if I kind of sit with that, it can be so overwhelming and so scary that I'd rather, even on a subconscious level, I'd rather get stuck in this romantic obsession about, and really what's underneath that obsession is a desire to control the other person, because the other person somehow is familiar, their behavior, maybe they're caught in their own addiction. Most often, that would be the case, whether it's chemical or behavioral. Somehow their life is unmanageable in a way that somehow feels familiar, right? So again, going back to that family of origin work, like really looking into that, why is this person's somehow, the energy about them, their ism, whatever it is, why is that familiar to me? And can I even name it? So the thing about the chronic deprivation is that when it's about affection and attention, I have found that I can be in such denial about what is actually what I'm trying to control about another person or another situation that I think it's perfect, right? Like it's not actually giving me what I need, but somehow I'm stuck in this deprivation chamber where I think that the other thing is perfect. And if I could just change myself or do the right thing or breathe the right way or sneeze the right way, then all of a sudden I would get this treasure trove of affection and I would somehow be finally worthy of it. And that's a lie. Like that is not how affection flows. So yeah, I wanted to touch upon this in terms of kind of demystifying the romantic obsession and how that plays into the deprivation and where it can come from, right? Because ultimately, we are trying to protect ourselves. So if there's someone in your life now who you feel a romantic obsession for, I would encourage you to do some writing on that and relate it to some family of origin work and looking at how their personality may remind you of someone that you had in that you grew up with. And then also really making a list of things that you do not like about this person that you're romantically obsessing over. And that can be really hard. Like you may resist that because the person may, it's really trying to crack the myth, right? Like if the person was actually perfect, like there would be more of an interchange. There wouldn't be this chronic deprivation. So that could just be number one on your list. They don't pay attention to you, or you feel that you have to act a certain way in order to feel loved, and that isn't the case. We do all deserve unconditional love, and of course that's imperfect in a human sense, and developing that connection with a higher creative sense is important. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful as a way to kind of look at and understand how something that can seem so compulsive and mind-boggling as a romantic obsession really actually is caught in the web of chronic deprivation. And also I hope it's been helpful to give some tools into how to really look at this and debunk it. So just to recap, we want to write out the things that we don't agree with about the other person, and then do the family of origin work about what is it about this person that's reminding you of something familiar that you may have experienced growing up, and doing that in a safe place and sharing that with safe people in your life, and then looking at how this is actually a control pattern, and so how the channel of romantic obsession is actually kind of a disguised channel of trying to control something that you feel is out of control. And then lastly, looking at what are the areas of your life that you may be not looking at, and that this is kind of like a substitute for your attention. Those are all really difficult things, so I'm not saying it's easy. But I really support you on the path. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And also, you can, of course, always message me and inquire about doing the one-on-one true self transformation training. And there are other courses on my website and other readings as well. Okay, so have a great day and blessings.